Hey everyone, and welcome back to DownTime. So I just want to talk about Matthew Mercer's Blood Hunter, the version that's on D&D Beyond as opposed to any updates that might have come since it was uploaded there. So I'm not using the DM's Guild version, mostly because I was too lazy to download it. Oh well. So if there's a few discrepancies between the two versions, then I do apologize, I'm just using the one that I looked at. Okay, so starting things off with just some general comments about the starting equipment. I did notice that the starting equipment option for light armor was studded leather as opposed to just being leather. This felt a little bit off to me, but at the same time I feel like it was definitely because the class often deals damage to itself. So that extra little bit of armor class is going to go a long way in helping their survivability, especially early game. They have a lot of really nice thematic features, which you could say are ribbon features, but at the same time they are really quite potent in their area of expertise. Hunter's Bane is a great feature, I really like how it's designed. It's relatively situational, but it still has some really nice impact. The Crimson Rite is basically pure damage. It's a little bit disappointing, not going to lie. I do like that the damage scales based on your level, similar to a monk's damage dice, and you need to take damage equal to your character level to activate it, as well as reducing your hit point maximum by that amount. So that is actually a pretty big penalty when you think about it. Like, 20 hit points doesn't sound like much in the grand scheme of things, but you can't recover that until your Rite deactivates, so it is pretty potent in that regard. I do like the fact that each end of a polearm and quarterstaff are considered different weapons for the purposes of the Rite, so you can have a lot of fun in terms of flavor and combining effects, like having one end deal one type of damage and then another deal another type. I also really like that the damage flavors are quite interesting and that you can't choose more obscure damage types such as necrotic and psychic damage until level 14. Fighting styles are pretty standard for martial classes, so I'm not going to get into those. The blood maledicts are very interesting. I like that you can amplify them by taking damage, and that creatures without blood would be unaffected by them. I also love the fact that its number of uses scales very gradually with your character level, as opposed to just, oh, you have this number of uses, or you have a number of uses equal to your wisdom modifier. I just like that. There's 8 blood curse options in total by default, which brings forward some unique options in playstyle, but at the same time, you do end up knowing 6, so you end up being able to know pretty much all of them, which is fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. The idea of mutual suffering, so the blood curse mutual suffering, is great, as well as the utility brought by the blood curse of purgation. It adds a lot of utility there, so that's really fun. It sort of deviates it a little bit away from the very set in stone, this is a pure damage class that some people might feel it is. Ability score improvements are as normal, extra attack is standard. Grimm's Psychochemistry is a great flavor skill, I'm not going to lie. It will have a lot of hit and miss as to whether the information that you can discern is useful, and I love that you can't use this feature multiple times against the same object. So it's like, okay, I can attempt to use this once, and I didn't learn anything, I can't attempt again. That's fine. Dark Velocity is pretty powerful, I'm not going to lie. I believe that's their level 10 feature. Mostly if you spend a lot of time fighting in the dark, the increase to dark vision, if you already have dark vision, as opposed to just being, oh yeah, you just get dark vision, is actually really nice as well, so I like that. I like Hardened Soul a lot, but I feel like it might be a little bit too powerful at times. Immunity to being frightened can be a bit of a big deal, but at the same time, if your group is just chowing down Hero's Feast like there's no tomorrow, then it's not that big of an issue because they'd be immune to fear anyway. And it is a level 14 feature, so I can sort of see that happening. Also granting advantage against being charmed by magic makes this pretty potent though. Oh well. and I absolutely love the final stand feeling of their level 20 feature. The idea of just maximizing your hit damage is pretty cool, and it doesn't seem to break anything, as far as I can tell, not too bad at least. And the chance of blood maledict recovery is also really, really nice there. So I have a little bit to say about each of the subclasses, the orders, if you will, so I'll just go through those as well. So the the Ghost Slayers, their extra right granted by this is pretty awesome. It fits well really thematically. I love that it deals increased radiant damage to undead as well. Hallowed Veins is pretty strong, I'm not going to lie. It makes dealing with things like constructs and skeletons that are normally immune to blood maledicts a bit easier to deal with because they are no longer immune to it. The ability to also re-roll the damage from amplifying your blood curse is pretty nice as well. Supernal Surge is another really strong feature for this order, I'm not going to lie. 3 attacks instead of 2, plus the ability to essentially go Ghost until the start of your next turn. The wording feels a little weird though, it's just because right at the end it's like, you can use this as a bonus action, but it's like, it replaces your action. So I understand what he's getting at, but at the same time, the wording felt a bit off for me. I really like Gravesite. It's a great flavor feature with a relatively potent effect, which suits where you get it in the leveling line. I also like that it sort of mimics True Sight to an extent, while not granting you vision into the ethereal plane, so it does give it a bit of differentiation though. Vengeful Spirit Vengeful Spirit sounds really fun, and I just want to see that in action. I like the idea of being able to hover over your own corpse and protect it from damage. Or at least as best you can, until you get hit. For the Order of the Lycan, the Heightened Senses feature is pretty good for flavor, and it also makes sense and has a huge array of applications, so I love that. The Hybrid Transformation sounds like fun. It has a lot of major benefits while still having some downsides, including the vulnerability to silvered weapons, and a chance to just go absolutely ballistic and attack anything that moves. It's great. Stalker's Prowess, I like that it mostly just adds movement speed, while also giving an improvement to your hybrid form by allowing them to activate their right while in hybrid form, so that's nice. Advanced Transformation continues this theme, but it focuses all of its benefits on just in the hybrid form, which makes sense because it's meant to be like, this is your core mechanic, this is what you do. The Iron Volition feature makes transforming a bit less risky, which is nice. It also adds a major benefit. Pack Hunter sounds pretty powerful, because it is basically just pack tactics, so you have advantage if a ally is within 5 feet of the creature that you're attacking. And it would pair well with a small dip into Rogue, I feel. I also love the addition of the new Blood Curse as the final feature, as well as the transformation not being unlimited. I know that some people dislike the fact that it's not unlimited, but they gain more benefits than Barbarians do from Raging, and while they do have more drawbacks, changing it to be an unlimited number of times could upset the balance of things. Especially with the increased recovery from Advanced Transformation. The Order of the Mutant. Not going to lie, I am a huge fan of how it sounds like it works. The mutagens are nice, and the pros and cons for each sound like it'd be really fun to play with. Strange Metabolism is a great feature. The poison immunity from robust physiology is pretty nice, though I can imagine some people would be crying foul about that. I'm not terribly sure though. The Exalted Mutation is an amazing ability. I love the flavor of it, as well as the fact that you gain both the benefits and the drawbacks of the chosen mutagen, so that is really nice. And finally, the Profane Soul. Now, the Profane Soul feels a lot like a Pseudo-Warlock, which I feel like is what Matt was going with here. It has all of the Warlock patron options, and it adds very Warlock-esque flavoring to the class, which fits really well with what's already there while not completely mimicking the Warlock. I love that the spellcasting ability is Wisdom as opposed to Charisma or even Intelligence. It gives it a very different feeling when compared to similar concepts such as the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster. And I really enjoyed that he further differentiates it by giving them packed magic as opposed to a more standard spellcasting system. Their packed magic, however, caps at 4th level spells, which keeps it similar to the Warlock while differentiating itself and keeping it more in line with the other martial caster subclasses. The use of weapons with an active right as a spellcasting focus is great. I love the flavor behind that, as well as the unique benefits that each patron grants for the right. It's just really fun, and it's tying everything together so the mechanics feel like they all fit in place without feeling too clunky. Mystic Frenzy is pretty fun. I don't think it's too powerful, and I don't think it's too weak. I feel like it's just hit the sweet spot there. Revealed Arcana and Unsealed Arcana are very, very similar to the Warlock's Mystic Arcanum. However, each specific patron only grants one spell, and these spells aren't of super high level. So I love the flavor that this class brings, and it definitely gives you a feeling of, oh hey, I'm sort of a Warlock, but I'm sort of not. Diabolic Channel is just absolutely crazy. I love the idea of imbuing your weapon with a spell, and then releasing the spell upon hitting a target. That just sounds really fun, and I wish I'd seen that somewhere else before, because I feel like that could have a lot of application in a lot of different places. The Soul Siphon feature adds some really nice flavor and some decent recovery, though it's unlikely to be used given on how pretty hit and miss the terms of activation, which feels fair, don't get me wrong. So those are just my thoughts on the Blood Hunter by Matthew Mercer. I really enjoy the idea of this class. I might make another video just talking about this with Wade, where we talk about balance, because he's better with game balance and all that sort of stuff than I am. But until then, thanks. I hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed making this. I don't know if you can tell or not. If you want to subscribe, then please do. If you made it this far into the video, then please let me know. Tell me how I can improve down below if you want, or not. Just tell me how bad I am. So yeah, cheers, and I'll see you when I see you.